Hi, this is Jason Boyer. This is part of the Gina Brooks story and my family story as well. I am at location campsite number 29 at Summit Campsite at Silver Mines Campground near Fredericktown, Missouri. The campsite is a double site. It's double site. I'm going to turn around. You can kind of see the double site. This is the campsite they took us to. In summer of August of 1989. This is the second campsite. It's still part of Silver Mines. The first campsite is at the riverside. Like I said, this is called Summit Campground, but it is at Silver Mines as well. They moved us up here the night they captured us, trying to cross the river to go deeper into the woods. From this campsite, they took us to a house that I told you about. They had bars in a window with a barn next to it. We will eventually get to that house, but they left here multiple times with Gina in the back of a reddish hatchback-looking vehicle with the cage in the back, and also the Nomad took her there a couple times as well with the cage in the back. From this campsite. The campground, as you can tell, is kind of a circle-ish. All the campsites around us were surrounded by, I call them the goons. I can tell you exactly where the cars were parked. The reddish car was actually parked right across our campsite. The one further down on the right-hand side of the road hill was the police brown truck, and off to the left was the Nomad, and the Suburban was parked directly behind me, and then the yellow El Camino with the cage in the back was parked right next to us, and then there was also a silver sedan that was part of this group as well. But this is the campground. We were taken to. This is one of the campsites where I told the kids what my plan was, and even with the cast on, I tried to fight back. I sharpened some good sticks and stuck them in my cast, kind of make it like a weapon. And from that tree line, I attacked the man that was acting as the police officer, park ranger, and he was a redheaded guy. And when I attacked him, they broke my cast and basically immobilized me. And they called the doctor or whoever it was, and they came to this campsite to fix my cast on site. That was the first time I tried to fight back, and I was really hurt that night. They took me to the rock that I showed you that we were allowed to play on the St. Francis River, and they beat me up there, brought me back up to the campground, and that's when the doctor showed up and fixed my cast on site. And while they were doing all this, the kids were being taken advantage of. I want you to know that this story is not just about Gina, it's about all of us kids here that were here that summer. There's 15 kids here that summer, to include my cousins. And Gina Dawn Brooks and a girl named Billy Joe. And it wasn't just me fighting back. Every child fought back. It wasn't just individual. It was all of us fighting back. And we all did try to watch out for each other. There's a road leading out of here. And myself, my cousin Brian, BL, and Henry Leland were walking down the road, and very vividly remember seeing the red car with the cage in the back, with Gina in the back, and Billy Joe in the back as well. And they were gone for some time. And when they returned, they told us that they were at the house that we were taken to the day before. Later that night, they took all of us kids at the campsite back to the house, and we were transported inside. This house had bars on the very bottom of the windows, had multiple rooms in there with locks on them. And when I say locks, I'm talking about the ones you can put a padlock on, and they had them 2 or 3 per door. And each room had kids in them. I don't know how many kids were in that house. I just know they brought 15 kids from the campground to that house, and there were already kids in this house. It had a huge mantle. There was a barn adjacent to the house, not right next to it, but a little bit further back. And they did separate us kids at times. I'd be put in the barn. Sometimes we'd all go into the house. All depends. From that house, we'd be brought back to this location. This is, like I said, campsite number 29 at Summit at Silver Mines. And from this campsite, there are multiple areas that things did happen. There is a little road that runs into a little gully here, where like a creek runs through. My aunt would put my cousins' heads under the water in this little gully if they misbehaved. There's a red bridge at the picnic area, and I remember trying to retrieve the item I left in the woods the day Gina Dawn Brooks was in the tent, and the police officer or park ranger broke my arm. When I went to go retrieve that item, there's a red bridge that crosses up to uphill area, and they caught me and broke my arm on that bridge. And this is the second time my arm was broken at this campsite with the cast on. The doctor came on site again, or nurse, and fixed the cast or whatever on site. From this campsite, we stayed here, I believe, 2 nights. We didn't stay at the campsites more than 2 days. From here, we jumped. From this campsite, we jumped over to St. Joe's, and I will be picking up recording from then and explain the campsite at that area and we stayed at a couple different sites at St. Joe's as well. But this is the campsite number 29 at Summit Campsite. There are things around this campsite. There is a tree down in the wood lines over there, and it was there when we were younger. It was freshly cut at the time, and we all sat on that tree stump. And I just remember everybody, all of us kids, trying to talk about how we're going to try to get out of here. And we never could find a good time or place because they had us separated a lot when we were at this campsite. And that's it from this campsite. And thank you for watching and just trying to understand what happened to all of us back in 1989, to include Gina Dawn Brooks. This is all our stories. Thanks. Bye.